Hello artists, so I am here to share with you the next steps in your felt creation. At this point you already did a drawing and you traced it 2 times on your sheet of felt, and now you're ready to add the details. So I am going to show you how to do this. I want this inside shape of my watermelon to be this pink color. It's like a dark pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this shape out carefully, and then I'm going to use this piece of paper to trace onto my felt. Now notice, this is not a full sheet of felt. You should not use a full sheet of felt for this type of stuff. You should look in the scrap box and go ahead and find yourself a piece of felt that is a scrap. This happens to be big enough, so I'm very lucky. And right here, I can squeeze this in to fit without wasting all of this. So if I put it right in the middle, it'd be wasting. So I'm going to try to use as much of this felt as possible in a smart way. I'm going to use my pencil because this is a light enough color where my pencil will show up. And I'm going to trace this. And once I trace it, I'm going to cut it out. And we will have hot glue guns for you to glue your details, okay? Notice on my cute little watermelon, I had a bow on my drawing that I cut off. Now is the day where I'm going to get to add the bow in again. So you see I have my pencil line. It's very light, which is good. I don't want to see dark Sharpie. Please do not use black Sharpie on your felt. It looks terrible when you're finishing this up. So we'd be black Sharpie lines all over your work. If you need to get yourself some big scissors, I have them in the supply center. And just do your best to follow your pencil line. And if it's not exact, that's okay. All right. So now this is going to be placed here. And I'm ready for my next detail, which will be this cute little bow. Now, I cut this off, and I don't need to even like trace it and cut it out of paper. I can draw it on here around the size that I want it, and I can just use my eyes and my artistic ability to create a drawing, and that's the size that I'm going to use. Cut it out. And now you see these pencil lines, so I'm gonna, when I glue, I plan on putting glue on this side so that you don't see those pencil lines, okay? I wanna do little black seeds, so I found some little scraps. Now for little tiny shapes, it's a little trickier, so like I could take this felt and just kind of cut so that it's easier shape to work with, and then just spend some time. It's gonna be a little tedious if you have little things, but trust me, it's worth it. So I'm just going to take a little bit to do some of these black seeds. I'll add more after I get out of this video, but you get the idea. So all of these little seeds are going to end up being glued here. Now for the eyes and the mouth of mine, they are lines on my drawing. So I would really love it if we could make all of our pieces out of felt, and I can just use my little scraps to cut out very thin shapes. So try your best to do this, but if it's really, really hard, don't worry. We can find another way to make it work. If you have eyes like this, I just cut a large triangle and then I cut a small triangle out from inside of it. And that's how you make those eyes. So let me take my seeds off so you don't get confused. Cut out a large triangle. And then cut out a small triangle inside of it. So I'm cutting all of my pieces out, and then when I'm ready, I will use hot glue to glue. And of course, these little things, you can use hot glue, but you have to be super duper careful, okay? So that is the gist of what you're doing today. You're adding small details or big details onto your object, whatever character this is. Just keep in mind, when I glue, for example, let me just take all of this off for a second and explain something really quickly. I'm going to be sewing after this step. So if I put hot glue along this edge where I know I'm going to be sewing, that's going to make it really hard for my needle to go through. So when I'm gluing this on, I have room here for my needle and thread to go here. I'm going to avoid putting glue on the top of this shape. So when I flip this over and I put glue, I'm going to put glue along here, but I'm not going to go too high up because I know I'm going to be sewing up here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down in the middle here, and then I'll be able to stick it on. And then when I sew, it'll be clear of any hot glue, because once hot glue dries, it gets very hard and it'll be really difficult to sew with a needle through there. I'm going to hold off on even gluing this today until after I've sewn, and then I can glue this on as like a final detail. All right? So just work on getting your shapes cut, and at the end of art, please, please, please make sure when you put things in your folder, all these teeny little things, you could do this. You could fold them inside of a piece of paper and then tuck them into your folder, or you could just put them into the pocket of your folder and just make sure they get tucked all the way down there. All of these little things will get lost if you don't put them in the pocket, so please make sure you do that. Tiny little pieces like this, you can throw, sorry, it's hard to see. These little scraps, you can throw these in the garbage, but anything like this is big enough for people to work from for little details. So these don't go in the garbage. These can go back into the scrap bin. Any paper that you don't need can go into the recycling bin. And just get the room cleaned up like you always do, and have fun, and I will demonstrate sewing and give you more time to work next time. Thank you. Bye.